All right, sitting here with one of the funniest comedians in the city of Chicago right now, a producer of comedians you should know, Blake Burkhart. How are you, my man?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on the pub.
Yeah, welcome to the pub.
Great to be here.
We're drinking a Miller High Life, the champagne of beers.
Yep.
I had to get a little fancy with you today.
It's my favorite beer.
And you're dressed very well. You're dressed incredibly well.
Yeah, I realized that I wore this, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm live streaming, and I've done this like 2 weeks in a row. But I host the mic at Comedy Bar. It's a talk show. And Sahar actually bought me the shirt, the owner at Comedy Bar.
Very
so
nice.
Shout out to Sahar. Thank you again for that.
What are you, like a 40 long? 40R? Are you a 40, 42?
I just took.
Trying to think the suit jacket.
It was a large at H&M.
Just a fit.
I didn't get it tailored to host my open mic.
All right, well, you know, I thought maybe you
did. Wedding season's coming up, though.
Yeah, I thought you could double down.
Yeah, I should save up and get my own suit. And
how old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
33.
Why would you mind me asking? I don't know. You ever just get trained to thinking
how
have
dare
to be polite
you
all the time?
What if I lied and I'm like 27?
Yeah, that'd be fucking great, actually. I think men should start lying about our age. Why not? Why are women even mad about that? Why would have any women in the chat? Why would you give a shit if someone asks you your age?
I think that's just one of those old-fashioned things
that
just
stuck
got passed
around.
on. I don't think most of them care. I don't know. I
can't
speak for women. I don't speak for women, but I'd like to.
Yeah.
I wish I could.
If I can't pinch a waitress's tush,
yeah,
I don't care. I'm going to ask you your age.
I say,
I
how
feel
old
like
are
if
you?
I lost that right
I
recently.
Say, more coffee, hon, and tell me your age when you come back.
Yeah.
I like to cross all the lines.
What are you, about 41? I hate the shit, though, when people say, I saw a woman who I'd seen around. She comes to Chicago and does some shows, or not does shows, but goes to shows and stuff. She's friends with some people in the scene, I believe. And she told me her age, and I was like, no fucking way. I was shocked because she looks way younger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I didn't do that stupid, what are you, 24? I go, 36. You know, I don't like the lie.
I like to stay out of trouble, so I just never bring up age really to anybody.
Never. Good boy, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I hate confrontation. I hate anything that could set someone off when I first meet them, so I just don't even bother.
That's pretty smart for a first meeting. Do you have anything where you I put my phone in my mouth badly that time?
I'm sure I have. I don't think I make a habit of it, but I don't know.
Because I just had that bad luck. I've always had that bad luck.
I ask people how long they've been doing comedy a lot, and I want to stop doing that. Because sometimes they're like, I've been doing it 9 years, and I'm like, oh shit, really?
Why aren't you better?
Yeah.
That type of thing.
I have a joke with my buddy Greg Kennedy where he's been doing comedy 3 years. Very funny guy. One of my favorite.
Yeah, I've seen him before. He's funny.
I love him. One of my new best pals. But
good head of hair like a Kennedy should.
Great hair. But he's been doing comedy 3 years, and he just told me that. So my joke now is I go, you guys know Greg's been doing comedy 3 years? Isn't that crazy? I would have guessed 5 or 6 months.
I love shit like
make him think I'm
chops.
Make him think I'm complimenting him, and then it's yeah.
Rodescu, who's I got to get on this podcast because he wants to have a Jordan versus LeBron debate, which he's just going to get crushed. I'm going to do it soon. I said after the NBA playoffs, which I should just do it now.
He's from Cleveland, right? He's not just a super fan. Yeah, at least he's from Cleveland. I hate the guys that are like, I'm from Detroit and I love LeBron.
There are people who bandwagon jump LeBron.
Yeah.
Kyle Scanlon, who's been on this podcast before. Everyone look back to episode 10, I want to say. Good dude. He is such a LeBron fan that he follows LeBron around. Cleveland was his favorite team. Now the Lakers are his favorite team. Miami was his favorite team.
Kyle, I give a pesser because he's an NBA super fan. So I get it.
He'd be one of
I
those.
would never do that shit. I would never have another favorite team.
I think you got to have some loyalty in that game. That's what makes sports fun. You live and die with your team.
The Bulls need our fans right now, you know?
Desperately. That's a bad situation over there. And I do want to talk sports with you in a second.
Yeah.
But Rodescu recently did a 10K or a 5K, some big run. And he was like, yeah, I took 67th out of 1,200 in my age bracket. And I'm like, dude, so you got smoked by 66 people. That's I would shut the fuck up about that, man. That's embarrassing. So I love busting people's chops with shit like that. But right now we're going to start off the podcast with something new. You're the first guy. You're the guinea pig I'm doing this with.
Fuck yeah.
I found this bottle of whiskey in my garage. I don't know how old it is, but whiskey ages well.
Yeah.
I think. It's what people say, something in the barrel. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I think it ages well in the barrel. I don't know if it ages well in boxes.
It never goes bad.
It never goes bad, right? So this is Michael Collins whiskey. Michael Collins, of course, famous Irish patriot. There's a great movie called Michael Collins starring Liam Neeson. And I want to start doing I want to open the show with a shot, but we do the shot in honor of someone. Not someone's dead. They could be someone dead, but we're going to do it here's to you. I'm going to call it here's to you because to honor someone implies that you're doing it for someone who's dead, right? Kind of.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah.
Or
shot
sick
in their
or
honor.
something.
They're sick or something like that. Anyway, so I want to do it. I was just, on the internet just doing a bunch of bullshit, and I came across Ryan Reynolds because I couldn't remember if he'd been married to Scarlett Johansson or if he just dated her. Guys, he was married to Scarlett Johansson.
Really?
He's currently married to Blake Lively.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we got to do a shot to Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
And the guy gets paid millions upon millions of dollars for just being himself. He plays himself essentially in every role.
He's Deadpool.
He's Ryan Reynolds Deadpool. He's Ryan Reynolds waiter in waiting.
Right.
He's Ryan Reynolds guy in
Deadpool's got to be the easiest movie too, because his face is only in it like a few scenes.
Pretty much.
And then I'm sure it's a stunt double in the red suit most of the time.
And then they just dub sound.
Know, right?
James Webb,
is
look
he
that
in
up.
the suit the whole time?
Okay, yeah, I'll
let's
check.
find
I
out
would
if Ryan
doubt,
Reynolds is in
like,
the
at
suit.
least for the conversational part, it's probably him.
But he's ripped though. That dude's pretty. He's in
he's
great
been
shape.
jacked his whole life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
Canadian, so he's super nice.
Yeah.
They typically be nice. They're nice people. I was talking with this with my cousins. We were texting about because we were bringing it up, and that dude also dated Alanis Morissette, but was smart enough. They were engaged. Smart enough not to marry her because you don't want to be married to Dave Coulier's Sloppy Seconds.
Right.
Right? The guy for the Uncle Joey from Full House. You don't want to. Or was he just Joey? He wasn't an uncle. He was just Joey. Or did they call him? They
called him Uncle Joey, but he wasn't related to anybody.
I don't like that guy. No, I like
and
him,
then he
but
would
I don't
host
like
the America's Funny Some videos.
Yeah,
remember?
he followed Bob Saget's footsteps a lot.
It was almost the same show, just a little goofier, and it was with Uncle Joey.
Yeah, it's Ryan Reynolds the whole time.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Fucking good. That's
Unless
definitely
he's
take a
doing
shot for this guy.
Unless he's doing
Balls.
flips and shit,
This
it's
is like
Ryan,
a big
yeah.
shot.
Right.
You're not driving anywhere, are you?
No.
All right, good man.
Here,
I'll
give
have
me
to
one.
host the mic and
You want a shot
drink
too?
more
I'll
whiskey
do it.
there.
Well, here, I'm not going to pour it over a laptop. This is great podcast right now.
Good man.
Describing pouring whiskey. You guys know what that's like? You guys know what pouring drinks are like? Ooh, almost spilled a little. There you go, kid. I almost handed you the bottle.
Did Scarlett Johansson end up marrying somebody?
I don't. I think she's single now. Although James Webb could find that out for us.
I will.
It's what he gets paid the big bucks for.
The masses are.
Let's do the shot first.
All right,
We'll do
cheers.
the shot first. Cheers to Ryan Reynolds, everybody.
Ryan Reynolds.
Find yourself a Ryan Reynolds in your life. This is a
Yeah, let's
little,
not spill it.
little shot of whiskey for the guy.
Cheers.
Oh, that's smooth as
That's
hell.
pretty good, huh? I mean, it gets you a little bit at the end, but I
There's
think
a
that's.
kick. I like it, yeah.
I like that a lot, actually. I should have opened this thing a long time ago.
I like a strong whiskey. Like, I don't like when people say, like, this is so smooth, it's like, I want to taste
I
it.
like-
I want to feel it.
I
you know?
like that combo. That's why I've been a big fan of that Patty's and Jameson is just straight up a punch. I feel like
Yeah.
different whiskeys have like bourbons. It could be smooth. Some of them though. Anyway, yeah, Ryan Reynolds, man, I got to give that guy a lot of credit. Underrated movie. I feel like Van Wilder. Maybe not underrated, but when people talk about like
Is
great
he in the
comedies,
second one, too? Or
No, he was just in the first one.
the second one's the Indian guy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's which launched his career. He's like a serious guy now. Cal Penn. He was like
That's right.
He was an advisor to Obama. I think he went to like Harvard. He was a real
What?
bright dude.
Oh, is
Yeah.
it Kumar? Or is it?
That's
is
Kumar, same guy.
It is?
Yeah, Cal Penn played Kumar and Harold and Kumar. He was in Van Wilder, where he was
In
just
all
a
the Indian
stereotype.
comedy roles? Good
Yes,
for
he
him.
was the Indian stereotype of like a foreign exchange student. Where it's like, I come to America, I want to see titties, like that
Yeah.
guy. That's not a great Indian
I
impression.
remember thinking the first Van Wilder was hilarious. Like, I was
Loved
probably in
it.
high school when I saw it, but it was great.
I had the unrated version, and I don't know if you guys were like this, but I used to watch. I had to fall asleep to TV. So from like the age of like 17 to 27, 10 years, I'd fall asleep, and I'd usually put a DVD on before Netflix took over.
Your parents let you have a TV in your room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean 17. Yeah.
Oh,
How
at
else
17.
could you
17.
watch
Oh, not
Insomniac,
earlier.
You know?
Insomniac with David Tell.
Oh yeah.
That
I'd fall
never.
asleep
I
to
didn't love that show.
every night. What
It
the
was fine.
fuck?
It was fine.
What was wrong with that show?
I don't know. It just wasn't. It wasn't always funny. It was a lot of times just him being a scumbag, walking around like cities.
That's all I need, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't that into it. I like David Tell a lot. And I think he's an amazing joke writer, and the volume of work he puts out is fantastic. But there was a stretch there where he was just like, let's get some hookers. Like, it's just like, all right, I get
Yeah,
it.
that's great.
Yeah.
It's,
There's
okay,
a
we
point
know
where-
how
Also-
we know what guy he was now growing up.
Scarlett Johansson update. Newly divorced. So,
From whom?
From Romaine Doriak. I don't know who the fuck that
He
is.
sounds hot.
Yeah.
Romaine Doria.
Yeah.
Sounds like some kind of
He's definitely
shitty
had
salad.
his shirt off
Yeah.
most of his adult life.
Probably
I
like a
would say.
Euro
Is
model
that,
or something like that.
Toss your salad like Romaine. Isn't that a Nicki Minaj song? I know that from Russ Williams and stuff. Not to get into ass eating this quick into the pod. But I thought that'd be at like the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, usually. But hey, man, let's jumpstart it. We got to be. It's gonna be a quick one with Blake here. Fuck. What was I saying a second ago? I got distracted by that ass
Oh,
eating
the
talk,
TV
as usual. The TV thing.
yeah.
So with the movie Van Wilder, I remember. Well, I did a thing where I'd put a DVD in and fall asleep, but then I'd wake up to the menu.
Mm-hmm.
I miss DVDs in a way. Fucking Netflix and streaming services. There was something cool about putting it in. I bet it comes back like the way vinyl records came back.
Yeah, I was about to say
I
that.
wonder
yeah.
if it comes back eventually like that. Anyhow, though, what was cool about the unrated version was when you hit the menu on unrated, it showed a girl just bam, and she would take her shirt off. And
Really?
big tits, like right there
In the menu?
in the menu. This is 2002, like raunchy, like
those
teen
days are
college
gone.
age comedy. Those days are far from like they're
Oh,
long
yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad to me in a way.
I love nudity in a DVD menu. I love that.
It was
It should be
great.
in all of them.
Also, the
honestly.
old school, the
Remember
movie
the-
Old School had nudity in the
Yeah, it
DVD
did.
menu.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
menu?
Yes,
really?
the two girls taking off their
The
things.
mud
and then-
wrestling.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
the mud wrestling. Thank you, Blake. And Blue
Great
Dies.
scene.
Yep.
You know, you're my boy, Blue.
My boy Blue.
That was
Yeah.
a great era for comedies looking back. The early, like from 2000
Oh, you could get away
to
with
2005.
anything back then.
Yeah, 2002 to 2005, they had that group of comics,
That-
not comics, actors, comedic actors.
I hate the name that they gave them.
What was the name?
Frat
Oh,
Pack.
yeah, that was
because
dumb.
like Rat Pack was like one thing, and then they called the Brat Pack was like Robert Downey Jr. and them, and then they're like, we gotta name these guys something. It's like these guys are in their fucking 30s. They're not like
They're not frat boys.
yeah, they're not frat boys. They're in one movie about college.
That
Like,
was
what
it.
the
That was
fuck?
like
Yeah.
the only one, too.
But I
You're
think the
right.
point was like these are what college kids like.
Yes.
But I think everyone liked Will Ferrell.
Yes, that was universal,
Yeah.
and not everyone who's in a frat is into that stuff, too.
Right.
So I know people who are far from frat who are like, oh, yeah, that was a great movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing when people add gate to any new
Oh, I hate that.
thing, where it's like, oh, this is, you know, it's all start with Watergate, and now it's Pizzagate, and this gate, and then
Right.
Gamergate.
And there was no gate with Watergate. That was the name of the hotel.
Yes,
So it's
it's
like-
just so fucking
Yeah.
dumb. I don't know,
They-
it's just lazy
They
journalism.
just get lost in the English language pretty easily, I think.
Yeah, they really do. But what are the movies they had? They had Old School, I think, kicked it off. Van Wilder was part of that. and
Anchorman.
Anchorman, big time. And then Wedding Crashers. And then
Yeah.
it kind of slowly went down after that.
I think the first Anchorman and 40-Year-Old Virgin are like the standout masterpieces of that era. And there's a lot of great movies, but those are like the Caddyshack.
yes,
Like
that's
of
a
our
good call.
time. Yeah.
I liked. Did you see the Brian Kenny? Brian Kenny's on MLB Network. Doug Kenny movie they made on Netflix.
I don't think so.
If you get a chance, everybody listening, there's
Doug Kenny, I know who that is, but
He
remind me.
wrote Caddyshack and Animal House. Co-wrote.
Oh, is it the just
Will Forte is the actor who
Yeah,
plays
I did
him.
see that.
Really
Yep,
cool,
yep, yep.
right? Our buddy Chris Red's in like one like his like,
Yeah,
one
that's
little
right.
line.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really I love the way they wrapped that movie together, and it was a really cool story
It's
about this,
about
the National Lampoon. It's
National
basically
Lampoon,
how the
yeah.
National Lampoon was launched, and
I did
SNL
watch
kind of
that.
ripped it off and all this
Yeah.
other stuff.
I love that movie.
Yeah, definitely recommend that one to everybody. But you know what I wanted to talk to you about, because you're one of the few comedians that's also really into UFC.
hmm
So did you see the pay-per-view this
Recently
weekend?
back into it. I didn't order it, but I watched the highlights and I made a couple correct bets.
Are you a gambler?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, should I shout out the website or not?
You could shout out the website.
There's
Go
a
ahead.
website called bovada.lv, and it just makes it so fucking easy. What?
How do you spell that?
What are you laughing at?
Sounds like you're
The
getting
.lv?
a virus from
Yeah.
that site.
You know what's funny is I wanted to bet on the NBA playoffs, and I was like $50. They'd give you an instant transfer. I've done it a bunch of times, and maybe it was because I was in Madison over the weekend, so I was like $50 Chase into my Bovada account. I want to bet on these games, and then Chase immediately was like, "Are you trying to send money to like Lithuania?"
Latvia?
Right? Yeah. And I was like, "Yeah, I am." And they're like, "Okay, well, we'll go ahead and try again." And then I tried again on the site, and they're like, you can't bet for 24 hours. And I was like, who's fucking running this shit show? I want to bet on the fucking
Latvians.
Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah, the goddamn Latvians taking all my fucking money.
There was a bank, it's still in Chicago, TCF, right? I used to be with TCF, and everyone, when that bank first started, because it's not a very old bank, maybe like 15 years old now or 20 years old, everyone called it the Gamblers Bank, because it was like the first bank to be open 7 days a week. They were
Holy
open on
shit.
Sundays, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is the Gamblers Bank," you know? Because
Yeah,
everyone used
or like the drug addict.
the
yeah.
gamblers used to have to get all their money out on Saturday
Mhm.
for the NFL games,
Right,
you know, stuff like that. So, yeah, dude, I didn't know you were a big gambler like that. It's pretty fun.
I just recently got into gambling, and I just recently got back into UFC. I was into it like in the early John Jones days, and I'm like John Jones super fan.
I know you were
Fucking-
talking about that.
I fucking love him. Love that guy. I love watching him fight. Like he got me into it in the first place years ago when he was like basically like a rookie.
Yeah,
and
he's a
immediately took
badass.
over before all his legal troubles. Now he's back and is still by far the best fighter in the world, in my opinion.
I think he is too. What do you think about the drug allegation? You know, he's been popped twice now.
Yeah.
You think the one time he just truly fucked up, and the other time it was just traces were still left?
You know, these people have PR shit. You're into John Jones too, Mike? Hell yeah. Me and Mike watch fights together sometimes.
We got Michael Robinson's hanging
yeah,
out in
Michael
the
Robinson's
studio.
hanging
He's
out.
been on episode something or other, 30 something.
I listened to that one. That was a great up.
Yeah, he was great. He had good stories.
But with John Jones, it's like they have PR people and they spin their stories a certain way, but his is like spun in the weirdest way that I feel like it's true. Where he was doing cocaine. Admittedly, he was doing a lot of cocaine right before fights, So that shows he's by far the greatest fighter on earth, because most of these guys, you do a little bit of cocaine and like if I did cocaine and then you told me to fight a guy the next day, I couldn't beat up like a 5-year-old. You know what I mean? Not that I do that drug, but I'd imagine based on what I've read that I wouldn't be able to beat up a 5-year-old the next day. You know what I mean? He was beating up the heavyweight champion of the world the next day.
I feel like when you're all coked up, you're punting 5-year-olds.
Your blood I think your blood, but the next day.
See, I don't know. I don't fuck with that. Like cocaine, I've never done it because I have like a heart thing, so I'm like, I don't want to be all like, And I like the type of thing that makes you fall asleep.
Like in his recovery of cocaine parties, he beat like Daniel Cormier, who's one of the greatest fighters of all time, and who only has 2 losses, both to John Jones. So
he's afraid to avenge the third. People keep wanting a trilogy between DC and John Jones.
He's like 40 now, and
he doesn't want it.
Jones will kick his ass again. And I like Cormier a lot.
He knows it.
But those are his 2 losses in his whole career. So if John Jones didn't exist or they never fought, people would be like, DC is one of the greatest fighters of all time. And they do say that, but he would be like in the top 3 probably. You know.
He does got that great John Bones Jones. I like that. You know, he's
so badass.
He is a badass, man. He fucking walks through people like really good fighters too.
His fights are fun, and I'm a big boxing fan too. And I Floyd Mayweather, like as a person, I don't like, but as a fighter, is amazing to me. And I like watching his fights. And people complain that they're slow. So then, if people like don't like that, I can't believe more people don't like John Jones.
They buy the fight.
It's the opposite of slow, right? Yeah. Exactly. But I've had friends who like watch the boxing pay-per-views with me, and they're like, "That was boring as fuck." And it's like you weren't looking at the right thing. He dodged a million punches in different ways and counter-punched. Like that's what it is. It's not going to be Mike Tyson every time.
No, I get that, especially with guys at that weight level. You know, people grow up thinking of, especially our age, everyone's like the heavyweights, not Holyfield, Tyson, of course, Lennox Lewis. These big dudes are just knocking people out.
And the other thing about boxing is people glamorize it because there's been movies made and stories told. If you watch an old Muhammad Ali fight, it's not entertaining from start to finish. He's dancing around like he does some showboating, but like it's just him dodging punches. He's doing what Floyd Mayweather did.
Floyd Mayweather does do that. That's why actually when Conor McGregor got in trouble initially with the trash talk, when he said "dance for me, boy," he was like, "I meant that because he did dancing. It's a boxing term." No, don't get me wrong.
I know you're a big Conor friend.
Well,
and
McGregor
so
has since said,
"We see the flag up here."
I do like Conor a lot. He has since said some really stupid shit. But I was trying to tell someone, I'm like, no, McGregor's not racist. Look, if he was an American and he says that, that's fine. But it's a different culture over there. They don't know all the stuff that we know here. And I think he's just ignorant. I think he just doesn't know that there's certain shit you don't say. Like he's like, what? I can't. In Ireland, they call each other boy all the time. So in his head, he's like, what the fuck? I don't understand. Yeah. And then he tried to recover for it by saying, like, someone's trying to say I don't like black people. I love black people. As a matter of fact, I'm black from the waist down.
I know,
and he thought that would like help him. And everyone's like, no, that's fucking, don't say that either, dude. That's
like,
not.
That's an offensive joke and also a joke for like the 1940s, you know?
Yeah. It's like
but he's not a professional comedian. It's okay to
no, although he might be funnier than a lot of professional comedians.
Holy shit. I know you know what I'm talking about.
Best trash talker.
Where they go, Connor, who do you think should challenge you next? And the guy in the back that I forget his name. But
Jeremy Stevens.
Jeremy Stevens, yeah. And then he goes, how about me? I'm the hardest hitting fighter in your weight class. And he goes, who the fuck is that guy?
It's funny
it's still the greatest sound
like,
clip ever.
He goes, who the fuck is that guy?
Who the fuck is that guy? It's still the funniest clip of all time.
Yeah, it's the one like it's the GIF that people use a lot.
Yeah.
For him, or GIF, whatever fucking people want to call it.
Right.
Yeah, man. I definitely with John Jones though. Yeah, it's hard to argue even with the steroid stuff because he's so dominant in those performances.
I mean, I love him and I'm a huge fan of his, but it's almost interesting. Like if he got beat, I wouldn't even be upset because it's just like the sport is so fucking interesting that this guy has been the Jordan of the sport. And he could get knocked out in 5 seconds by someone that we don't even know by first and last name. Like we barely have ever heard of.
Yeah.
It could like stop his career flat for now.
Now, so you just got back into MMA. I've been into it for maybe like the last 3 or 4 years. Still novice in a lot of ways. I don't know like the history as much.
It's been so good the last 4 years.
It really has been great. And well, just for people listening who don't really know, what sold me on it was something a friend of mine told me, which is kind of a classic MMA thing. I've heard a lot of people use this. They call it MMA math, where it's like you're only going to be the best for so long because it's so many different fighting styles combined. You could be an amazing striker, you come across a wrestler, and then you're kind of fucked if you don't know how to handle that, if you don't have good takedown D, which I kind of just described McGregor. And that happens with a lot of people. Although wrestling, I feel the wrestlers seem to have the most advantage right now in MMA because I always thought that they're really, I mean, obviously there's some rules, but there's a few rules where I'm like, oh, that's clearly to benefit the wrestler. What you like? Where's one?
Like, what do you mean?
Well, there was one. I think it was in the Khabib McGregor fight where Khabib was on top of him, facing the other way, and McGregor like threw up a knee and didn't like get him completely. But if he would have, he could have fucked him up.
Right.
You can't knee someone like in the head like when you're both on the ground.
Right.
And in my head, I'm like, well, if the one dude has position and you're on your guard, why shouldn't you be allowed to just throw a knee up and get him in the jaw? I feel like
you think that's there to protect wrestlers in particular?
well, I feel like that's their style is ground and pound. A lot of
Yeah.
these wrestlers, and that's when they're most exciting because when they're just holding the guy. Look, it's like with the Mayweather thing when an average novice fan will be like, "This is fucking boring."
Mm-hmm.
They don't. And the regular fan, I understand them not appreciating the technical aspect of it. You know what I mean? Like as a baseball fan, I like watching a pitcher's duel. I can see how some people are like, "This is boring. I want to see some scoring." That's fine. Like I appreciate wrestlers because I only wrestled for a year in high school. Didn't have much of a I didn't like it at all. But some of my best friends in high school were wrestlers, so I appreciate that. But I don't want to watch it.
The college wrestling, you mean?
The college wrestling and stuff like that.
I can't get.
In
I
MMA, at least someone get punched.
Every type except for that.
Yeah, nobody.
I wouldn't even know what to look
it.
for. Yeah, I wouldn't even understand what to look for.
That's why when people say pro wrestling, they're talking about WWE. They're not talking about like Greco-Roman.
Have you ever seen like a karate tournament or like a jiu-jitsu tournament? Those are boring as fuck.
Are they? I can see that because it's all
that's why
holds and
UFC
shit.
is the most brilliant company on earth. Is they were like everyone on earth. Max Kellerman used to say that is like. If you see two great basketball players playing in a park, you'll watch for maybe a couple minutes and be like, those guys are great. If you see two guys fighting in the park, you're going to stop. You're going to cancel your plans the rest of the day. You're going to watch until the one guy gets knocked out.
I remember hearing Max
Everyone
Kellerman
on
say,
earth
right.
loves fighting. Women love fighting. They might not admit it, but I'm not speaking for women again. I keep making a habit of speaking for women. I'm going to say women.
Blake, you're just in touch with that side of your brain, man. It's not.
I am, yeah. I was raised by women. Two sisters and a grandmother and a mother.
I like how you're almost looking at the camera as an apology.
Yeah,
like,
I'm like,
guys,
sorry.
I'm not speaking for you,
If
but
any of you are watching this, I'm sorry, baby. Wake up.
I want you to do the wink and then do the eating out face.
Yeah. If I offended any ladies, I want you to know I'm real sorry, baby.
What's up there, sugar tits?
I'm in big trouble.
No, you're not. They know. Some people could do it in a fun way where they could like drop some
Everyone-
sexist lines and be kind of fun about it.
Yeah.
And then there are other people. I don't think I could get away with it. I feel
Yeah.
like you have this like cool guy persona.
I think my whole character in comedy is like the guy who's like real confident, but like for no reason anyone could pick out.
Yeah.
They're like, why is he so fucking cocky and smug? And I'm just like, I don't know, baby.
It's almost
Maybe
like
I just am. And they're like, he's bald. Where's he get this from? He's bald. He's not particularly tall or strong. Why is he like the cockiest dude in here? And
I like
it's
that
only
character.
it's only really on stage or on.
But it's like a
podcasts.
throwback to me. But you kind of do it with like it's tongue in cheek. I feel like I don't feel like anyone would think.
100%.
No one in the crowd thinks you're actually trying to
If
bang their girl.
If
Maybe.
I ever,
Maybe.
no, I'm not trying because I don't have to try. You know.
Yeah. See, there you go. Comes natural.
I'll let you have it, baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I'm flirting with the guy.
Listeners remember when we did a podcast. Who was on there? Was it when Eric and Nicole Clark was on? Maybe.
Yeah.
Blake was chatting.
Oh,
He was in
Yeah, he
the
was
comment board
Yeah.
on
King of
Facebook
chat.
Live.
I was drunk in an Uber watching the live stream on my phone.
You were killing it, man. People were loving it.
But where were we at on UFC?
We were talking about just like the styles and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
The Max Kellerman quote, which I've heard and I love.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, if it's Jordan versus like someone one-on-one, you're gonna watch for a while. But then if a fight breaks, you're like, well, I don't.
Right.
I think it's because you never know what's gonna happen, and especially in UFC for the most part, because again, you'll just see. Excuse me. I can't remember the two fighters. I know one guy was Korean because I think his nickname was the Korean Zombie, maybe.
Oh yeah.
It was a brawl the whole time, but like and they even like hit fists because they knew there was like 30 seconds left, going like this has been a fight.
Yeah.
and they hit
started
fists.
swinging. Yeah, I know the.
And then
fight
they
you're
started swinging like crazy, and the one guy
Yeah.
just threw it. He threw that elbow up blind. I don't care what. And so one person tried to be like, "Well, no, that's bullshit."
talking about. You can win a fight that
yeah,
way.
and you can. He
Yeah.
threw this elbow up blind, and the guy dropped with like 2 seconds left
Yep.
and won. That was the closest thing you'd see to a buzzer beater in any combat sport.
Yep.
Because you just don't really.
That's the risk you take. That's why you don't challenge the guy to a haymaker fight. Because even
Yeah.
if you're a better fighter, you miss one haymaker. These guys are the strongest people on earth.
That's what
they
people
work
say.
out
Oh,
at-
they got a puncher's chance.
They work on more than football players. They really do.
Yes, they do.
And the training, training and stuff. Like if you hit a heavy bag every day for a week, you will see your muscles grow.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's a
one of the
tough,
best workouts there are.
Yeah,
So
when
just
wrestling
punching-
is too. That's why they
For sure.
all go together. Like when I wrestled on the just freshman year of high school, that was gruesome. Michael Robinson, were you a wrestler? Nice, man.
Were you really?
There's actually a lot of
Would you fight
Nigerian
in the
fighters coming up
70,
right now.
75-pound weight class?
98, 103.
What?
No shit.
Were you 103 pounds as a senior in high school?
Yeah.
Damn.
What do you weigh now?
125.
You weigh 125?
Really?
How tall are you?
6. Wishful thinking.
About
5,
10, 11?
5, 6, 5, 6 probably.
Oh, 5'6".
Yeah.
Why did I say 5'10", 11"? I know you're not that tall.
He's
I
6
see
even
it.
if you go at the top of
You're standing up, so you look taller than me, and I'm sitting down.
Take the top of his highest.
The
highest curl?
Yeah, the highest curl.
6'11".
6'11". All right.
5, 6.
Did you wrestle in high school? Did you play any sports?
No, no.
No.
I played football going into high school, and then I kind of hurt my leg pretty bad, and my mom really didn't want me to play, so I got into sports broadcasting.
That's cool though.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I would have done that.
We had a real low frequency
wanted to
thing,
go to
and then I
college
did
for it.
radio until like a year ago. Like I don't know, usually like for nonprofit stations and stuff like
You
that.
got a good voice for radio.
Thanks.
Smooth.
And now I'm doing it with James. I guess I've never really left radio. Now I'm running
Yeah.
shit here with James.
Full circle, baby. I can't
Full
talk.
circle,
I'm drunk.
baby. Full circle, baby. Are you drunk?
A little bit.
Hell yeah.
I never drink anything.
Really?
Yeah, dude. One
Oh,
shot
yeah.
will do me, baby.
Yeah, James is one of these muscle freaks we're talking about.
Yeah. lose it.
Yeah, he's been shredding. Well, because he used to be a fat kid. That's why.
Oh, I was very fat.
I'm not saying
No,
that's
I
an
was a
insult.
fat
You were a fat
adult.
kid. You were a fat adult.
I
I
was
don't
a
remember you that
skinny
fat.
kid. I was.
You know
I
why?
weighed-
Because you always were like sweat. Here's
Dog.
the thing. I'm gonna tell this. This is a
I
little.
had big floppy tits.
Well, I got you. Give me a second here.
All
This
right.
is. I'm looking at the camera for this one.
All right.
Any of our friends who are like husky, you just wear a couple sweatshirts. Because there are people I know who are like, oh, dude, you knew me when I was fat. And I'm like, when? And they tell me when. I'm like, dude, you wore like that Wisconsin hoodie every day. I didn't notice.
Right.
You know, it was winter. That's why people get fat. Like, they gain weight in the Midwest and Chicago
Right.
because it's like, oh.
It's cold
you know,
out. It's easy.
Sweatshirt ready. I get to pack on some Italian
Yeah.
beefs. You know, like you're saying, you get the saggy tits. No one notices. Who's the wiser?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? You start, putting those hot dogs in on your thighs.
Yeah.
Right? You get hot dog thighs.
I mean, it happens, man. All that pizza.
Actually, I don't think hot dogs make you gain that much weight. There's not a lot of calories in hot
There's
dogs.
bread.
The bun is worse
the
for you
bun.
than the actual meat.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
For
So-
weight gain, yeah.
I just can't imagine eating a hot dog without the bun.
No, you.
As much as I like hot dogs, it's not a
for
fucking
like
meal.
sociopaths, you could chop it up and dip it in the ketchup like a 5-year-old would.
Yeah. Sure, my son, I'll cut him up for him like that. I
That's the
hate.
kid that beats me up after a cocaine party.
Yeah, well, he's 2, so he's not quite there yet. But depends how much blow you do, maybe. You know.
That's true.
I hate that I called it blow just then. I've probably told this story on the podcast, and a friend of mine actually who I ran into, actually my buddy Rudy Ascott, who I mentioned on the podcast. You remember Rudy Ascott? He was a comedian in Chicago for a little while. He's up in Alaska. He was like, yeah, dude, you've repeated like 100 stories on the podcast. So I'm like, ah, damn. Well, when you drink, you get redundant.
That's
the
part of the
first-
charm. You feel like you're really in a pub, you know.
Yeah, right. I mentioned blow, but this is always funny to me. And we were driving. I had friends who lived like kind of where Danny Cales grew up, like on the western border of the city.
Right.
And we were going into like Lincoln Park, and normally you never take this route because it's dangerous as shit. And he was going through like the west side, like the worst part of the west side, and he's like, I gotta get gas, and I'm like, no, you don't. You could keep going. Is what you could keep doing. We'll another 2 miles and we'll be okay. This is not a safe neighborhood, you know. And we go to the gas station, and this like Cadillac pulls up next to us, and they're like, yo, you want to buy blow? And I was like passenger side, so I'm going to have to talk to him. I'm right there. I'm like, no, man, we're good. Thanks, though. And he's like, blow, you know, cocaine. And you know me being the way I am, I was like, yeah, I know what fucking blow is. And I remember my friend being like, kicked the back of the seat, like, and I was just like, what? And then they just kind of like, all right. And he just went all right and kept driving.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, Jesus Christ. But like, it bothered me that he was like, blow, you know, coke. Like, I didn't know what it was because I'm some fucking white boy in the wrong neighborhood.
Yeah.
But my response
don't
was
want it,
very,
yeah.
I don't know why. I can't, when I hear the slightest hint of someone being rude, I just get rude back.
Yeah.
And they weren't even being rude. They were just trying to sell some drugs. They were trying to make a sale.
Right. I get you. I'm the same way, especially after like a couple drinks.
I might have had a couple drinks in me because
Yeah.
that was like the time. I think it was like 1920. We used to pregame and then go into Lincoln Park on Monday nights because there was all these dollar beer bars on Monday nights in Lincoln Park.
Yeah.
And for non-Chicagoans, Lincoln Park's like the college neighborhood. You know,
Mhm.
I always try to break it down. I try not to get too local references on this thing. Yeah, man. So let's talk about comedy real quick with you because I know you got to run. You're going to go host a show over at the Comedy Bar.
Yep.
You are a producer of Comedians You Should Know,
Mhm.
a show that I've been a producer at for a long time as
Mhm.
well. What I always liked about you, and when you started like interning for the show, I was like, yes, because I know Blake. I could tell you really, really love comedy,
Oh yeah.
and I feel like even if you weren't a comedian, you would have tried to find a job in comedy somehow. Is that true?
100%. Yeah.
See, I love comedy, but I don't think I would have because I think I'm one of the people that's like, I'm too close to it. I'd want to be part of it, and if I can't be the guy on stage, I want to get the fuck out. Although I
Yeah.
want to do sports broadcasting, maybe that's a little different. Maybe I would have been. Who knows?
I think you still could have a knack for that.
I'm laughing right now because I tried to say like I could have gone into it and then I immediately stuttered over my words. Yeah, dude, I'd be a great talker. I'd be a great talker for baseball. I'd make all the baseball plays in the radio
I think
booth.
they need more comedians in that. I think Dennis Miller kind of shot us all in the foot. we're gonna
Dennis
lose
Miller.
jobs for decades because of that.
Yeah, because he was awful.
It was bad, but he was funny.
He had some lines here or
I
there.
remember. I think
You need the right blend.
Is this like
you
a
know?
famous story when Warren Sapp and Randy Moss are talking?
I don't know. Yeah, you could
And
lay it
they
on me.
go, they go, what do you think that whoever the color man was at the time goes, what do you think they're talking about there, Dennis? And he goes, they're probably arguing about which is higher in the tree, the moss or the sap.
Oh, Jesus.
It's just like a great. He came up with that on the top of his head because he's got a comedian mind, you know. No sports broadcaster I know that's not a great joke, but no
It's
sports
not.
broadcaster in history would have come up with something that clever and that funny that quick. That's a Dennis Miller joke, you know.
I mean, he could have said like, I don't know where they're getting dinner after this, but I guess that's not as funny. I don't know. I feel like Sapp and Moss. It's intelligent. That's the thing.
I almost feel like I remember watching that as a kid and think it was funny, and then people bring it up years later. But it's like I bet he was just hoping they would get on camera at the same time, and he wrote that joke before the night. Yeah, I bet he was like, as soon as they're together, I'm gonna do. Is that even how he
No,
sounds?
that
It's
sounds
a
like
terrible-
him because he's gotten bad. He had I remember listening to that radio station where he had a radio show on every now and then, and a conservative talk radio. It could be kind of, for some reason I always like listening to this one guy because he's such a psycho, that Michael Savage guy. Every now and then I'd catch his show because he was just this dude that was trying to be tough, but he had the whiniest like New York Jewish guy voice, which I'm not saying you can't be a tough New York Jew, everybody, but not with that voice.
Yeah.
He just, it was like a shriek. It was so shrill. He had the
Right.
shrillest voice, so I would crack up listening to that dude. He's like, I'll tell the liberals this. And it's like, what? That it's a little hot in here, that you should turn down, they should turn up the heat, and that your order was wrong? Is that what he sounded like a guy that was constantly going to be like, I asked for Dijon, this is yellow mustard. Like but he would be like, my taxes instead. It was fucking worse. But Dennis Miller, every now and then there'd be a commercial where him for some auto, like, he's like, if you trust so-and-so with this, that's like trusting Amy Winehouse with your car keys. This is before she died. You know, when she had to go to rehab. Like, it was always a joke that was so obvious. That'd be like trusting Lindsay Lohan.
I
with,
like that better after she died.
Yeah, I like it better.
It's just darker, and it's like, oh my god. It'd
Yeah,
be like
where
a
was
live
that, Dennis Miller? But didn't David Cross make fun of him by saying, Dennis Miller, you are the master of all reference? Because
Yeah.
all of his jokes were just referencing something.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like, no, he's a great joke writer and all that stuff like that. I got nothing against him personally. He had his heyday, but I feel like it's long since passed.
I'm
him
not
by.
a like super Dennis Miller fan. Trust me.
No, I wasn't saying it for your
Yeah,
sake.
yeah.
Although our guy Farad Mohammed, who comes to CYSK a lot, great supporter of comedy,
Yeah.
great laugh,
I love
and
Farad.
I believe listens to this podcast or did for a while because I'd see him every now and then. And he'd say, "Hey, I like this episode." He would do the like intro to Dennis Miller's show or the announcement because he's got a great radio voice. He's got a real deep,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
kind
Farad
of like
is
cool, smooth
Great voice, best laugh ever. Yeah.
That laugh is something, man.
Yeah.
It is. It is. If you guys listen to my first album, you'll hear one specific laugh throughout the whole thing,
Yeah.
and that's
He
Farad
messaged
Mohammed.
me specifically like the day before my album, and he's like, I can't get back to Chicago in time, and I want to tell you I bought a ticket for your album recording, and I'm really sorry I'm not going to be there. I know that my laugh would have sounded great on it or something. And I was like, you're the one guy I wanted there.
He asked me if he could use like my album for a reel he was doing for his voice and laughter and all that. I'm not kidding. I wasn't kidding at all. I was like, holy shit. You know something really mean though? When we did the Comedians You Should Know album, which we got to do a volume 2 to get you and the New Blood.
I think it'd be fun. Yeah,
I
we
call you
talked
guys
about
like the
that
New
later.
Blood. You, Elson Dunn, Jonah Jerkins,
Yeah.
and we did it back in end of 2010. Came out in 2011. And Drew
Mhm.
Michael, Mike Leibovitz. It's on iTunes. If you guys want to look it up. Danny Kalis, Marty DeRosa, myself, Michael Sanchez, and there was I'll name her. She knows this story. Should I name her? Yeah, fuck it. She won't care. Julia Louis Olson, who's got a great podcast. See, I'll plug it, so now she won't mind. Called Not the Mama. It's a podcast that's like, hey, if you don't have kids, that's cool. And I've listened to a couple episodes. She's good on it. And her laugh is something. It's it's a laugh. I like it a lot, but I could see. So Drew Michael told her she couldn't come to the recording, and she'd come to like the last 30 shows we had done, just as a friend of all of ours and a big comedy fan.
Yeah.
She's dating a comedian, so she Lane Pichelle, very funny comic, New York. Look him up, everyone.
Oh yeah, Lane's hilarious.
And so I remember just being like, "You're such a fucking dick."
Yeah.
So yeah,
Is that the
In
first or last
retrospect,
time
he
I'll
might
hear
have been
that,
right. No,
though,
I'm
yeah.
kidding. I'm kidding. No. Have I talked about him? He's came up on this podcast before
Numerous times.
numerous times. Yeah, that's fun. But I've said this about him a million times. I think he's an amazing comedian. He's great.
Very funny.
Yeah.
Very funny guy.
And very nice guy.
I'm not talking shit.
Super nice.
I try to keep it honest. If there's
He's my best friend, so let's
yes,
do it.
I'll watch my tongue.
Can I have one more beer before
Yeah,
I
of
go?
course, man. What got you into stand up?
I wanted to do it my whole life, and I didn't start till I was 27, which
The fuck were you doing those 6 years, huh, man? Just Slamming puss. No time for open mics.
A little bit. No, I was in a band before I did comedy, and nothing happened there. And then I just didn't have the guts to do it until
were in a
I was
band?
27. Yeah.
What instrument?
Well, I played bass in the band. I still play guitar a little bit,
Oh, cool, man.
but I played bass and I did backup vocals, like the lamest part of the band.
What kind of music was it? It's like alternative.
Yeah, I think you might actually like it. People said we sounded like Dinosaur Jr.
Oh, I like that.
We were trying to sound like the Pixies and
I
like
love the Pixies.
yeah, Pixies, Nirvana, Dinosaur Jr. All that shit.
I
Like,
got
that's
into
what-
both those bands from Nirvana.
Yeah, me too. Well, yeah.
And the inside jacket of Incesticide, which was like a bunch of B-sides and some unreleased stuff that Nirvana put out in between Nevermind and In Utero, he mentions Dinosaur Jr.
Oh yeah,
So I think they opened
such a
for him a
great
little
band.
bit.
Yeah.
And obviously the Pixies were a huge influence on Nirvana.
Oh yeah, yeah. We tried to sound like that, and we knew like it wasn't like to make it big or anything. It was just kind of fun. It was my friends from high school, and this is after college we started the band, and then
Well, there must have been a hint of ambition there. I hear people say, "Oh, it's just for fun. We don't mind. We just have."
Well, I mean, if we had caught on, of course we would have ran with it. But it
Sure,
wasn't like
yeah.
it wasn't the same as comedy, where it's like I was gonna keep doing comedy forever, no matter what
Oh,
kind
I
of
see.
happened to me. With the band, it's like if the first album doesn't hit, and we're not getting booked all over the city, like I'm just gonna stop. And we didn't get along as a band either, so I quit, and I'd already started comedy, and then once I started doing comedy, I was like, I have no interest in ever playing music again.
Yeah.
And that was like the thing I loved the most, was playing music in a band and like playing shows. And the first time I like did well in an open mic, I was like, this is better.
yeah,
For
it is,
me,
right?
this is better. I don't know about other people, but like I will never love anything as much as the feeling of like doing well on stage.
It is a high.
And it was like I was not doing well often back then, Like I was my first month was like bomb after bomb. And then I had my first good set ever was at the Logan Theater, which is still a mic, I think, on Mondays or Tuesdays.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Leah Berman.
Leah Berman,
runs
yeah,
it,
Leah
and
Berman
She
still
has
has-
a podcast on this network. This is People
Right.
of Comedy Network. Everybody
I wasn't sure if
follow
she
it on
was still in
Instagram.
charge,
People
but
of Comedy.
that was a great mic and still a great mic, I'm sure. And that was the first time I had a good set, like really good. And I was just sort of like riffing, and I was like, okay, I can't look back now. And then I was telling Mike earlier, I didn't get booked for anything for like a year, or just like real small shit, but no like real shows. And then right at the year mark, I got one, and then the next, and the next. And
Yeah, it
it's like,
kind of rolls from there.
right. And at that point, I was like, I can't quit now. I was 27, and now I'm 33, and it's like every year's been better than the year before. So
I've noticed that people who start later always start smarter because they kind of maybe feel
Right.
like, oh, I lost all this time.
I think I would have been terrible if I started in my early 20s.
That's
I'm not,
honest. I like that.
I'm not at all the same person. At 27, I was a totally different person than at 22. Completely different.
I can't imagine you being any more immature. So this is surprising. I'm just fucking around.
That's fair.
Well, yeah, you do have a silly energy to you.
I think I was like naturally funny, but I didn't have the right way to like tell it or like say it to strangers. I didn't develop that until my late 20s.
Yeah, that's a skill that kind of. I think that's what scares a lot of funny people from doing stand up. Because I think we all know someone who's like, this guy's hilarious, but they
Well-
think to themselves, I'm only funny when I'm making fun of our circle of friends or this. And
Honestly, they should be scared. It doesn't translate, The funniest guy in the office can't fucking do what we do. No way.
no, but
I mean,
did-
once in a while they can, but
Yes.
not because they're funny, like at parties or amongst their friends. It's a different skill set.
It's a completely different kind of funny.
Yeah.
Completely different, because when you're funny, like in the office setting or whatever setting where everyone's familiar with you, you don't have to establish yourself.
Right.
They already know you. They either like you or don't, and then you could just be you and be funny through that way. Or as a stand-up, when you go up there, the audience is as soon as they say your name and you're walking, like I call it like the Laugh Factory. You're coming up the side there, your name gets said. They got a good 10 seconds of watching you walk.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people right there will be like, fuck this guy. They sometimes,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Oh,
They'll just like, I don't
totally.
like this person for whatever reason.
Totally.
And then at that point, you almost have to prove yourself.
Right.
I just at Laugh Factory last night that, the other comics were like, dude, you really killed. I'm like, I thought I was going to eat shit because that first 2 minutes was rough. I started, I had a weird, like the sunburn's faded. I got sunburned on Saturday, which is really funny because in Chicago it snowed 7 inches yesterday. So the day before I got burned, and it's just this real red mark right across here a little bit. I mean, the headphone's covering, so you guys can't see it on camera. And my ear's peeling over here. I got like a peeling ear. And I did like a thing where I'm like, over here. I'm like, oh shit, it's over here. You guys ever have that where you don't remember what side of the face because there's no mirror in front of you?
Yeah.
I've done that where I'm like, oh, I've got a zit over here. And then I'm like, oh wait, no, it's over here.
Yeah.
They all looked at me like they've never incurred, like, I go, really, you guys, you assholes just always know where stuff is on your face. Just always know. You don't have that thing where it's the opposite, like where, oh, this curl's over here instead of over. And they all just looked at me like I was insane. They had never encountered not knowing where shit was on their face. And then I said, you know what, I was this close to just being like, this is gonna be one of those sets where I tell them all to go fucking kill themselves. but I was in a good mood, so there was no need to do that. And then the rest of the set was great. But man, I remember thinking, was it the way I walked up here? Because it felt like instantly they were like not into this.
There's
guy.
a million ways for it to go wrong. Any given
there
set,
is.
especially at a club with a lot of people there.
Were you gonna
it's
say
like,
any given Sunday?
yeah, any given Sunday, baby.
Yeah, any given Sunday. That's what we deal with up there.
That's right.
But you know, another thing though that you were mentioning, it's the office guy. It doesn't translate. I've
I
told
mean,
people though.
sometimes it does,
you
but
can
it
take
doesn't automatically.
Yes, because
yeah.
you can take inside jokes and make them outside jokes. I've told people, I go, you just change a line or two.
Mhm.
That's where the writing comes in. And a lot of people don't know how to do that. And the performance, being in a circle of people at a fucking water cooler, is so much different than being on stage and strangers are staring at you. That's what I don't think really people grasp.
Oh, right. Absolutely.
Because that's why hecklers started. Because there's always some asshole who thinks they're funny.
Yep.
That's why if I could do it all over again, if I could pick what cool ass job, I'd be like, let me be an athlete. I would trade being a professional athlete for comedy any day of the week. I would.
I don't know that.
I love comedy. I love it.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I think I don't, but I'm like, I love it so much it's hard for them to get me off stage. They got to show me the light like 7 times. Dude, get the fuck off stage. So that clearly means I love it, right? I don't know, because, you know, obviously if you suck as a professional athlete, it's pretty hard. You get booed a lot.
So you'd be like Jordan, but like in fourth quarter, you're up by 20. You're like, I'm staying on the court, and you like run up the score.
Oh, man, I'd run up the score. I'd be like, check out this new move.
I've never understood you more than this moment right now.
Right? It makes
now I
sense.
get you
Oh, man, I'm
on a
running up
higher
the
level.
score. I'm going to make it so bad that those players that I just fucked up, that's going to linger into their next performance. You know what I mean? You ever just like,
Yeah,
you ever crush so hard that the comic has to go up after
Yeah.
you bombs, and then you know it just fucked up them for a whole week?
the whole like
didn't just
Detroit
fuck up that
Pistons
set.
can't follow you. Yeah,
Yes, you can't do it.
I love it.
No, for sure, man. All right, you got to get out of here, right?
Yeah, I
it's
gotta
8:40
take
now.
off. But it's a pleasure, Joe.
Dude, it
Thanks
was
for
so
having me,
good.
man.
I'll have you on next time for like an extended episode because there's so much more shit I could dive into with you.
Anytime, man.
You're a fun guy. Your podcast is now is on iTunes yet?
The podcast with James is coming up on iTunes very soon.
Yeah, a couple weeks.
It's Comedy of Chicago podcast. Very
Chicago,
Which, by the way,
Chicago
I got.
Comedy Podcast. Comedy of Chicago is something else.
I actually did the numbers on
Oh
this.
shit! Yeah, never mind. We don't have the title yet.
Well, it's gonna be just be on the
Bleep
lookout
that up,
for
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And the other one's called Blake and Bobby Go to the
Blake and
Movies.
Bobby the Go Movies, which is we have a new episode coming out in the next like day or two. I'll put that up.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
It's us reviewing the movie Us, which is a real crazy movie. So listen to that. It's a fun episode. Yeah.
Get out of here. I'll wrap up
Cool.
some other stuff about
Thanks
it.
again,
Thanks so
buddy.
much, my man.
Thanks, man.
So there goes Blake Burkhart, everybody. Can't wait until he walks away. I'm going to talk so much shit about him.
Isn't he fucking
No, I was going to
bald?
say this, though. His podcast that's coming out soon is going to be about the Chicago comedy scene.
Yeah, so we live stream right before you get here. So we have 3 episodes or 4 episodes on Facebook already. So if people want to check it out, it's at People of Comedy Network on Facebook.
Michael Robinson, see you, buddy. There you go. Yeah, you guys just grabbed the road pop? That's what we call him, a beer for the road. No, it's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind. Oh, well, hold on, actually, real quick. Robinson. Hold on. I don't want this on mic. Dude, can you leave me a cigarette? Yes. Thanks, man. All right, cool.
Cool. No one heard that.
No, whatever, though. Just put one there for me if you could. Thanks.
You have
Appreciate it.
I love you, bro.
Oh, dude, you're the best. It's a fair trade for the beers.
I love you.
Good man. Thank you. You're the best.
See you, bro.
All right. So the podcast is about Chicago comedy scene. You're right. You said there's a bunch they could check
Yeah.
out. I wanted to tell because I did the numbers. I actually got numbers recently.
Yeah.
Not the actual breakdown because iTunes podcast analytics are weird.
Yeah.
But they'll show like by area.
Yeah.
So over 50%, not much. It's like 55%
Sure.
are outside of Chicago land area because I've got like people like in Niles and Park Ridge and Oak Park and Evanston and like surrounding suburbs are listening. So I'm counting that as part of Chicago.
Yeah.
So that increases the number more. But so the majority, a small majority of my listeners are outside of Chicago. I've got Australian and New Zealand listeners, some British and some Irish. So thanks for checking out the podcast, guys. I hope you enjoy it. But let me just tell you this, because some of you are thinking, dude, I live in Australia. I live in California. I live in Denver. I live in Atlanta, Tampa. Why the hell would I want to check out this guy, Blake Burkhart's podcast about Chicago comedy? I'll tell you why. The best comedians in the last 10 years, even longer than that, have come from Chicago.
All of them, dude.
So you're getting a sneak peek. This is like grunge scene of the 90s, but we had more than just a short run because we are producing constantly. John Mulaney from Chicago, considered one of the best comics out there right now. Hannibal Buress, one of the top comics out there, Chicago comic. You got Kumail Nanjiani, who had that big movie, The Big Sick, that got nominated for some stuff.
Did he win anything for that? I feel like he did. I'll look
Did he
that up.
win Best Screenplay or
something big?
No, they were nominated. He didn't win though. He didn't win. They were
Anyway.
nominated though. But I know he was in the Twilight episode about stand up that came out recently.
What
for the
have
new
you watched
Twilight.
that?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I'll check it out. I just haven't had a chance yet. And excuse me. And then the list goes on. You know, TJ Miller, despite the allegations and
Sure.
stuff like that,
Funny guy.
very funny guy. And there's more coming out all the time. And even if you go back further, Steve Harvey from Chicago.
Yeah.
Uh,
Bernie Mac.
Bernie Mac was from Chicago. Bernie Mac, fucking unbelievable. Watch his stuff from like Def Jam, early 90s. Just a killer.
Oh, yeah.
An absolute killer. Richard Pryor's from Peoria, Illinois, which is about 2 hours
Richard
south.
Pryor is from Peoria.
The Pride of Peoria. Another one was born. I think Sam Kinison might have been born there. Something weird about Peoria. And that's why people made the joke, if it plays in Peoria, it plays anywhere. Maybe I'm wrong about Kinison. I think Robin Williams was born here but raised in Michigan.
Sure. I remember he stopped into Entertaining Julia once.
Yes, and that's just on the stand-up front. If you go in, Robin, I was there when Robin Williams popped in. I shook his hand. It was a great honor for me.
Cool,
really nice guy, sweetheart. Sad what happened to him. Sad that he, was led to killing himself.
Yeah.
Depression, people. I'm still going to try to do this. I want to get like a psychologist on.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, I had a list of a couple people, and then I found out their specialty, and I'm like, I think I need someone with a different specialty. And then I have to find someone else.
Well, psychology is very relevant to stand-up comedy.
That's exactly why, but it's also relevant to what's going on right now in society.
How so? Like in what? specific regard?
Suicides are at an all-time high, not just in comedy. Not an all-time high. I think maybe an all-time high, besides the depression where people are like, I have 0, so I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah.
And just, mental health right now is finally at a point where people could talk about it and not feel weird.
Yeah.
The stigma is starting to go away, but there are but the thing about that though is the communities it's hurting most, the stigma is still there. Which I'm talking about, which is like middle class areas or even working class. Yeah, dude. See, the thing is, you step outside the bubble a little bit here. If you, not that you're quite in it, but the friends we have, because most of the people we know are like, yeah, I got depression and I'm going to therapy and that's great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you were on Twitter, more and more people are openly talking about it. But if you're a poor person who lives in the inner city or, no matter what, walk over, black, white, Hispanic, whatever.
Yeah.
You think it's cool to tell your friends, I've just been feeling down in the dumps lately, man. I just don't know what I want to do in my life. It's hard to get out of bed every day. No, it's not. And those dudes just try to power through. They don't get help, and they should get help. And then they make bad decisions and self-destructive decisions, and it goes that way with with women too, of course.
Yeah.
So I just think I wanted to have an episode of the podcast to make it fun. I'm gonna make it fun too, like not like make fun of it, but to try to be like, listen, everybody should go to therapy. Everybody should. Because
do you think that's the solution over like psychoactives? Well, not psychoactives, but psychological drugs. Like,
I mean, some drugs could help for sure. If you need drugs, if you have like a chemical imbalance, if you're bipolar, you need drugs. You do. You need something that's going to help you, and you need meds. I don't want to call them drugs. I mean, people fight that. Like some people go, well,
call them drugs.
I know people when they get on like lithium per se,
yeah,
they just feel fucking terrible for a while. But it's because they're trying to balance you out. You were so one way, it's trying to, and then they think, well, I'm naturally this way, so shouldn't I be this way? I'm like, well, not if you're a danger to yourself and others.
I was on, when I was a kid, I was a fucking hyperactive piece of shit. I was on everything. Like we were kind of the test, the guinea pigs.
Yes,
of
our generation, because we're only like a year apart. I knew a lot of kids
who were Ritalin, Concerta, Wellbutrin, like all that
Ritalin
stuff.
Kids for sure, man.
And it was horrible. I mean, it's just my opinion, but I don't think, medicine is the.
I get that. I mean,
answer.
everyone has their own little thing about that. I just know that there a lot of times when horrible, like our Brody Stevens was a buddy of mine, a great comedian.
Yeah.
He got off of his meds. And then this is what happened. And a lot of people were like, dude, you got to get on your meds or at least try a different regimen if you were starting to feel weird with those meds. Like, I know it's an ongoing struggle. And I just want people to get the idea that because there's still people out there, dude. It's less and less every year, every day even, which is great. The stigma, like I said, is going away. But there are still people out there who are just like, oh, fucking cheer up, sunshine. Just stop being a little pussy.
That's also not the solution at all.
No, of course not, because they forget. I try to tell people the brain is an organ. Like any other organ.
Right.
If someone goes into kidney failure, everyone feels so sorry for them and all this stuff. Yeah. But if you start acting all fucked up, you start getting manic and all sorts of other stuff, people they don't want to be around you.
Right.
Because they don't get like, why don't you just stop being like that?
Well, it's hard to process. Like
the brain gets sick too.
The brain, when it gets sick, like it makes you behave a certain way. And if your kidney gets sick, you're in pain and everyone feels bad for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these people are in pain. They're just
there's a different way of expressing it.
Yes, it's just showing up in them acting crazy. We were talking about MMA as a sport, and this goes to head trauma in any sport. Tony Ferguson, who I think is the guy who could probably beat the guy who's the champ at 155, Khabib Nurmagomedov. I can never pronounce his last name correctly. But Ferguson's a badass. That dude, out of nowhere, was like in a psych ward because he won his last fight and looked awesome, and he's been on like I think 11 fight win streak. Yeah, he's been crushing it, dude. Which 11 wins in a row is very tough in that sport. And you know what I mean. And he was like on the highway with his wife driving. I think he was in the passenger seat. I hope it's even worse if he's driving. And got out of the car and started running down the highway because he said, "You microchipped me." And then she put a restraining order on him because she was fearing for her life because he was like not making sense and saying like, "Oh, like they're all after me and you're in charge of it." He thought there was like microchips in his body. He thought there was like all sorts of, and he's getting help. And I think people were like, everyone kind of rallied around it because it's funny to see these guys because UFC has taken on a WWE type nature in which there's so
they're
much
almost in cahoots.
Yeah, there's almost so much shit
Vince and
talking.
Dana talk a lot to each other.
Yeah, and Dana tries to act like he's not like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs it, but obviously any combat sport has had shit talking since the beginning of fucking time. That's why I always get annoyed when people are like, "Oh, he's out of line." I'm like, dude, Muhammad Ali, what's his name? I think Frazier never forgave Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali called him an Uncle Tom. He's like, I never forgave him for that shit, which was like that was the worst insult you could call someone at the time. Like a black man calling another black man an Uncle Tom back then, that was like, so when people are like, McGregor said this, McGregor said that, and he might have stepped over the line with some of the religious shit. I don't know if you saw this. Conor McGregor, well, Khabib and McGregor have this feud. Khabib beat McGregor very, definitely, decidedly. It wasn't like, could have gone either way. No, Khabib was in control.
Yeah.
McGregor did win one round. He won the third round. But, it was a clean victory for Khabib, an easy victory, you could even say. McGregor's been talking some shit here or there about random stuff, and Khabib in an interview, he's on some show being interviewed, he said, "Oh, McGregor's complaining like a bitching wife or something like that," or he called him like a desperate wife or something like that, nagging or something.
Can't say that.
Yeah, I mean, Khabib got away with that. No one cares about that though, for some reason. Khabib's
Really?
like part of the religious police in his part of Russia. They're like extreme conservative Muslim, and I'm not knocking Muslims as a religion, but actually, fuck that. The extreme part of any religion could go fuck themselves.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I will say that. If you're extreme Christian, go fuck yourself. If you're extreme Muslim, because the extreme means you are like hateful towards people who aren't you, which should be the opposite of religions that preach peace. Anyhow, so Khabib gets away with being like openly hating gays. McGregor campaigned for gay rights in Ireland. No one ever gives him stuff for that. No one lets that slide because he just runs his mouth and talks so much shit. Everyone only sees that. Anyway, so he says that like, oh, McGregor's like a nagging wife or whatever. McGregor tweeted a photo of Khabib and his wife at their wedding. I guess it's part of like a Muslim tradition or whatever type of Muslim they are. They might be like a Sunni or Shia. I don't even know. Where she's like, he says, "Dude, your wife's a towel."
Yeah, she looks like a towel.
She looks like a towel.
Yeah.
And it did look like a towel over her. I know it's not a towel over her. I'm trying to describe it. This is
Sure.
audio. This is audio. People listening,
Right.
I want to know what I'm describing. I'm not.
Look up the
I'm
tweet.
not piggybacking what Conor
Yeah.
said. But if you didn't know, if someone walked into your house like that, you'd be like, "Why do you got a towel on your head?" Like, and then I think a lot of what he does is just he's ignorant. I think he's fucking ignorant because he
Sure.
took that tweet down. He did put that tweet up and he took it down like half an hour later.
Smartest guys, they're
They
hitting
get
each
punched
other
in the fucking
head.
Yeah, like. If you're looking at them to be role models, get the fuck out of here,
Yeah.
you know?
Unless you're trying to be a good fighter, that's the only thing you should be looking up to them for.
Yes. Oh, no, that's why I actually started to like Conor McGregor first, not just because of this, not because he's an Irishman, because his story's great. He was when he in 2013 he was on welfare in Ireland. He was on the dole, as they call it over there.
Sure.
You know, he's poor as hell.
Yeah.
Grew up in a tough part of Dublin. Like he didn't.
Don't a lot of these folks come from like bad
They usually
situations? I
do.
mean, that kind of breeds.
I think with that type of sport, you're either some
type of
legacy, like Floyd Mayweather. His
Yeah.
dad and his uncle were great boxers, so it was passed down to him.
Yeah.
Or you needed it to get out of whatever health situation you were in. Like the Diaz brothers, they were in Stockton, California, which is a rough town. They got into, I think it was I like burping in the
There
mic,
you
guys.
go.
You know I love
That
that
was
shit.
Bassy as fuck.
Yeah, it was a good burp, man. I
Yeah.
felt deep on that one. They got into jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
and because there was a gym by them, and the guy who like coached them said, "I'll give you a burrito every time you guys come." So in their brains, there was, well, that's one meal a day, so it's one less meal to worry about. That's how poor they were. Where it was like, that's why I always hated it when people said like, "Man, all Mexicans are dishwashers and stuff like that," like in America.
Mm-hmm.
That dishwasher position has been a job held by every immigrant group pretty much as they've come through.
Oh yeah.
Because when you work at a restaurant, it's at least one meal a day.
Yep.
which makes sense. If you're poor, you're thinking, okay, that's one. So that's whenever I hear people talk about like being poor, I go, are you so poor you're worried about meals? And they go, well, no. I go, shut the fuck up.
It's like, oh, I'm
Shut
so
up.
poor.
Appreciate
I
being
can't
alive.
Go to the movies tonight. Oh no.
Oh, I can't afford Movie Pass.
Yeah.
Or Netflix went up to $11.99.
I'm
Could you
so
believe that?
poor.
Fuck you.
Dude, these are the same people that like won't pay $1 for an app on the store that they're gonna use for the rest of their lives. And they're like,
Steal
oh, I'm so broke.
music and
Yeah.
you know, yeah,
Buy
I hate
music.
that kind of. Yeah, but you should support artists as much as
Or
you
at
can. I
least
buy
like,
albums.
get a Spotify or like a Google Play or something.
I buy albums. Yeah, I do. Yeah, who's there? Are people still illegally downloading shit? I'm sure there are.
Movies and TV, yeah. But even then, it's so hard to now. Just
That's why
because
ticket price. That's why concert prices and movie ticket prices went up.
the risk far outweighs the reward of just paying like $7 a month for
Yeah.
like a shitty Netflix. Disney Plus is going to be $7. Then they're going to have every Simpsons episode. You're really going to put all the Simpsons on your fucking heart? Yeah,
Disney's gonna have The Simpsons
because they bought Fox.
Oh my god, they did buy Fox.
So they have every Simpsons.
Dude,
probably
Disney
all the
Plus
Family
might put
Guys.
Netflix out of business.
Oh, it's going to be a huge war of attrition because both networks are just going to grab as much as they can from their library. And
Netflix.
Netflix won't be able to get any Fox shows. They won't be
Sorry,
able
I'm
to get
checking
any
my
Disney
phone
stuff.
because we're doing another podcast and the guest is gonna roll in.
They won't
we'll
be able to
separate the
get
feeds though. Sorry.
like anything that's not original Netflix content. And like their stuff is good. Like, you know, all the Black Mirror shit is good.
I got
their original
into-
movies are good.
I liked Ozark.
But you can't compete with Disney. You can't. It's Star Wars, it's Marvel, it's Disney. Like you can't.
And that's why
fuck with it.
Netflix stopped the Marvel shows because they knew they were going to get pulled from them anyway.
Yeah.
Is that why? Because Disney owns
Well,
Marvel.
did they?
And if is Disney going to put like their classics up? Because remember they were famous for putting their shit in the vault.
Oh, the vault's going to probably be a section on Disney Plus.
Like it'd be even a little bit more. You get the vault. Because as a dad,
There you go.
I don't know how they're going to do it. They might
now
do it
you're
that
thinking,
way.
Joey.
Because if I was
Like
a business,
marketing
because they
genius.
were so famous for like for a limited time only, you could buy Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah.
For a limited time only, you could buy Cinderella, and then people would be like, "Oh shit, you got to buy it," because they only put it out
They
for
put
a
it out
while.
for- yeah,
like my
like
wife,
couple
one of
months.
her favorite Disney movies was Cinderella.
Yeah.
I had to order it special on Blu-ray from like a company in Europe to get it shipped to me.
It was really that hard to find?
Yeah, because it was in the vault. And they did. And in one
That's
year,
so
and
crazy.
it's crazy, dude. One year I almost bought it. Like I was at a Target, and I'm like, oh, I should buy this for her. And then I don't know why I didn't buy it. And then I went back like a week or two later, and I go, oh, you guys had Cinderella. You don't have any more? And they're like, oh, yeah, it's back in the vault.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, man, that was a crazy thing that Disney did. And if they put like, if they have like Frozen on there, and
Oh, no doubt.
because I'll look up
They
movies.
have Frozen on Netflix right now.
That's off. It was on it.
Oh, it is up. Well,
They take stuff
they're
off.
gearing up.
Well, Coco's on there right now. That's a Disney movie that'll get yanked off soon.
Yeah.
They yank some stuff off because
You cannot compete.
like Cars is going to be off because my son got really into. Well, they had Cars 3, and my son got really into Cars 3. He watched
There's
Cars
a
3.
Cars 3?
Yeah, it was actually really good.
Oh,
Cars 2
shit.
wasn't that good.
Sure.
Cars 1 was really good,
Yeah.
and so Cars 3 we watched on Netflix. Cars 1, my wife downloaded so we could watch on the way to my mom's house. She lives in Iowa.
Yeah.
It's a long car ride. You know, you got a 2-year-old in the back seat.
Yeah.
And loved both of those. And I'm like, well, we got to get Cars 2. And this is what we'll end on before James tells us the bullshit that he's been dealing with his show.
Jesus, yeah.
I'll just say this very quickly. This is some adult shit on mine. This is like when you know you're a father and you really loved your kid and your family and all that. I had this gift card to this place called The Exchange, which is like a music recycling type place. You
Great game store in
yeah,
Chicago.
it's like a, like a GameStop type place, but he also has records and movies
And
and all
old
sorts of stuff.
games.
Yeah, it's great. And you could like buy, sell, trade type of place.
Yeah.
And anyway, I was there and I was like, I got a $20 thing. Maybe I'll buy a record for like $17.99. They had Iggy Pop, Lust for Life on vinyl. And I'm a big, like, I love the Stooges and like Iggy's great. And I love that album in particular. Yeah. So I'm like, oh man, I've always wanted this, especially on vinyl. I feel like it's something really cool. And then as I'm looking at it, I glance over and I see the Disney Blu-ray section.
Yeah.
And I look, I'm like, fuck, he's been wanting to see, I know he wants to see Cars 2. And then I saw Cars 2, they had it. Then I saw that they had these Toy Story straight to DVD, like short things. They're like 22-minute specials.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, he loves Toy Story. Like he's seen Toy Story 1, 2, and 3. His Buzz Lightyear's his favorite toy he has. He's always like playing with Buzz and Woody and all. I'm like, fuck it. And I bought those instead of buying myself the record. And I was happy to do it. It's fine. I got Spotify. Listen to the fucking thing on that, you know. But that's when you know. And I know people out there is like, oh, I don't want kids because I don't want my life to change. I have fun getting drunk all the time. I'm like, dude, getting drunk all the time's great. I did that throughout my whole 20s. And I'm not saying you need to move on, but I'm saying once you have the kid,
You don't want to get drunk.
you don't want to
Yeah.
because the kid's more fun than that other shit. It's so much
the
more fun
alcohol's
than
there
it.
to replace the kid when he's not there.
Yes, yeah, kind of in a way. I
Yeah.
tell some of my friends, like, dude, come on, you used to party to 4 a.m. with us. I go, I don't want to because I'll be hungover in the morning and I want to play trains. We're supposed to play trains,
Hell
and
yeah,
I built
baby!
these fucking train sets. I made this cool ramp off the side of the couch, and that's more. I'm sorry, way more fun than talking to you guys. I love you,
Yeah.
but peace. You
Yeah.
know. All right, so James Webb is dealing with some major shit. He teased it on
Oh,
Facebook.
boy.
So as a man who's a producer of a great comedy show, you're running this network. You, like Blake, put your love into comedy, which I love about you, man. I really do.
Thanks, man.
And it's a great show called Stand Up. I was honored to have headlined the very first one you ever did.
Yep.
And you started at this venue that's you went back to because the owner was a dick before, and then you guys
Yeah.
left, and then you came back.
To say the least.
The new owners are cool, but now you've dealt with another problem.
Yeah.
What's the verdict?
So this show has like been through the ringer. Like 7 years. It's been a long 7 years for us. You know, we started out great. We started back when it was just you guys.
Just so you know, I'm listening, but
Yeah,
the
yeah.
next
Do your
guest, I
thing.
got to give him directions.
We started when it was you guys. So CYSK, Lincoln Lodge. There was no Laugh Factory.
None.
Like Zany's was popping a little bit, but there was like nothing. So we started out at the right time, and it was great for a while. And then, you know, the fucking election happened, and certain people who were part of our show went for Trump, and like we got some shit for that, but we got over it. And then then we had to move because, like you said, the former owner was a complete.
Which is just so beyond your control, which is tough with shows, you know.
We just kept getting like these snowballs with rocks in them just thrown at us for years. And, so we moved to 3 different venues. We were at the Crocodile, then we were at Whiskey Business, and then they kicked us out after they said that they would have us for a while, even though we were fucking crushing it there. Sold out shows every week. They kicked us out, so we moved to Laugh Factory. Thank you, Curtis and Brian. That was a really fun run. We did monthly shows at Laugh Factory for a year, and it was great. And then that whole time, I was trying to get our old spot back because, like, I remember. Do you remember the Comedy Exposition?
I do. It was a festival that ran for a couple years there.
It was really fun, and all the folks who ran it were great, and they brought in like big name comics. And Todd Glass, one of my all-time favorite comics, did our room.
I know, because I closed out one of those and he did the show after me.
Yes, yeah,
Danny
yeah.
Callis headlined like the 7 o'clock. I did the 9, and then he did 6, 8, and 10, something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember we hung out with him in the front
Yeah.
of the bar.
So
He's
much
just
fun.
super nice guy.
That was one of the best days.
My
ever.
buddy Dan Gullery, shout out, who's a fireman. Todd Glass like interviewed him about what it's like being a fireman, which I thought was cool because as a comic, sometimes it's like, especially when you're on your road, you want to talk to other comics because there's like a kinship there. But
Right.
It's like, you're a fireman, Chicago fireman. Oh, cool. Let's hear about that. And you could tell he was like follow-up questions, hanging on every word.
Yeah.
Where Todd Glass is a big name. He could have easily walked back into that bar and had everyone fawning all over him and kissing his ass.
Yeah.
And that dude's another dude who gives a fuck about comedy.
Yeah,
right?
he's a real one.
He'll get there early and set up a room, which like headliners don't do.
Well, and so that's why I'll never forget what he said to me when he was down there. He like pulled me aside. I'm not like bragging. This is what happened. He
Say
was
it,
like-
baby.
he's-
Say it.
He was like, this is one of the coolest looking rooms for comedy I've ever been in.
I believe him.
And right after he said that, I was like, we can never fucking leave this place because
Yeah.
it really is a great place for stand
It's
up.
super cool.
Our guest just arrived. I'll wrap
Hey,
it up.
Chris, we're wrapping up one earlier thing, and then we'll start in a few minutes. Grab, there's Pac-Man. Go play Pac-Man if it's on. In the hall? Straight ahead, you'll see it. Turn your face, you'll
Green
see
room's
it.
right there,
It's a
buddy.
big arcade, man. How the fuck could you miss it? I love him. He's going to be great.
But anyway, so like as soon as he said it, I was like, this is our home forever. And nothing had really happened to us then. And so, a couple years go by, the election happens, something happens there. And then we move a couple times. And this whole time that we're not at the original spot, I'm like talking to the landlord. Like I'm putting way too much
I wouldn't
time
be
into this.
surprised if you tried to buy it knowing you.
I mean, I thought about
You
it.
thought about
for
it, right?
for a minute. I tried to find some friends who would go in on it with me, but like it was too much. So, but I found some folks who I trusted, and I brought them in, and they got their PPA license. For those of you who don't know, it's the Public Place of Amusement license. You have to get it in Chicago if you're going to have a show that charges money, or if you're going to have a show that has a drink minimum. So any fun show, really. And then, so they got their license immediately, but because of the old owner, who was such a notorious piece of shit, there was a stipulation that only employees of the new bar owners could run shows there. And I didn't know that until I got a phone call today
Oh, my God.
from the guy, Frank. Love you, Frank. Frank is far and away the coolest dude to work with ever. He runs a great establishment. The whole place, by the way, if you ever want to go hang out in there, Little Olive Lounge, 1540 North Milwaukee in Wicker Park. It's like a really fun place. It's a friendly place.
If you're in Chicago, check it out.
Great, yeah. If you're in Chicago, check it out. Great wings, friendly people. Anyway, Frankie calls me up today, and he's like, there's a stipulation. And I was like, well, I've been doing your Instagram since before you even came in here. So I'm technically an employee. So he's like, all right. So when the cops come, just tell them that. Because you're an employee.
You're the social media director. That's simple. Which pretty much, if you're a bar or a business right now and you don't have someone in charge of your social media,
you better have somebody doing that shit. By the way, I am
you're done
for
fucking
hire,
up,
baby. If you need social media people, let me know. I do that.
You've done fucked up. Yes.
Yeah. So, but he also said that to expect the cops to try and shut down the show this week because they've been getting complaints for 6 months, anonymous complaints. Who the fuck complains?
It's the old owner. I know for sure.
And that's what Frank said.
It's got to be.
So he said it was him.
That's why I always hated Yelp as a website because it's user generated, which means anyone can make bullshit up.
You can't even tell.
You could lie. I know people lie. And Yelp is like the mob. For those of you who don't know, Yelp.com. Anyone could rate or review any bar or restaurant they've ever been to. They'll hold back. They'll actually. I used to assistant manage a bar, and they sent us like an email. When we were still early on going, you guys got a lot of good reviews that were, if you want to advertise those, we could release them. And they're like, wait, what? Yeah, if you advertise with us, we'll release those good reviews.
Yeah.
And we're like, why aren't they just released? They hold them like hostage.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it's a fucked up practice. And they're allowed to do because it's a website. They can do what they want.
That's why people use Facebook because they're kind of fucked up with their ad practices, but at least they don't do shit like that.
Yeah, I don't understand that need
up.
to like get strangers' opinion on something. That's how I view it. And I started because you know what the thing is, people. It's something I complain about often, and this will be the last thing we say. And then you could tell people how maybe they could help keep your show going. Or,
sure, yeah.
Well, I don't know what they could do. I mean, I know cops. Maybe I could talk to some of them and see if
you're Irish.
See what's up. I
help
am,
me.
And I know a lot of Chicago police
Help me.
officers. Is that fuck? I forgot what I was gonna say. Always such a pro. Oh no! So the people who damn it, James, what were we just talking about?
I don't know, baby.
Oh fuck me. This was like I had a good roll going, everybody. It was a roll going toward the end of the podcast. You're going to love it. This is a motherfucker.
Anyway, here's how people can help support the show.
Yeah, I'll think of it in a second.
If you want to help stand up, this sounds like an ad. It's not. I want to pack that fucking room out this week. I want to pack it so hard that the cops can't even get downstairs. To see
yes, Yelp.
That's what I want. So, yeah, go to
Now
Yelp.
I remember what I was going to say, though.
Go to Yelp and rate us. Also, Joe, what do you have to say about
Sorry,
it?
we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Pack out the place. But on Yelp, is my big problem right now is people don't read past the headline. They read the headline and nothing more.
Oh, yeah.
And it kills me because I'll see people bitching about something. I'm like, well, I actually read the headline, and this is very misleading. It's not really like, and they go, and then they think I'm a dick for correcting them. I'm like, nah, I'm just trying to get the info out there. Why Yelp has thrived is because it's a world full of headline readers and not actual content readers.
Yeah, it's
so people go
clickbait.
on Yelp, they go on Yelp and they see like a 2-star thing. I remember there's a great Italian beef place, got a little expensive over the years, called Roma's in Chicago on Cicero Avenue near like in between Montrose and Irving for those of you if you're ever in Chicago and my Chicago listeners. And it's fantastic. I saw that it got like the reviews were kind of bad because when Yelp became a thing, I'm like, I wonder what everyone thinks of the places I like.
Yeah.
Every place I love got shit on. So I'm like, wait, this can't be me. I know I got pretty good taste. I recommend places. No one ever says thanks for that recommendation, dickhead. I was bleeding out my asshole for 3 weeks. Like no one's ever said that,
right.
you know. And if you have said that, I didn't like you, and that's why I sent you there. I remember on the one for the top review for Yelp, that was a 1-star review, like the first one you saw.
Yeah.
A guy complained that they didn't have vegetarian options. It's a place called Roma's Beef that doesn't even have chairs to eat inside. There's got a couple stools. You could stand and eat along a bar thing.
Beef.
It's called Roma's Italian Beef, and underneath that it says hot dogs, burgers, brats, or Polish.
Why
or
would you expect that to happen?
Exactly. And people found that useful. They click because you could hit the buttons, and I found it useful.
People just want to complain about shit.
But could you imagine if I own, and I know that place.
Yeah.
I guarantee that guy walked in, they go, do you have any vegetarian options? They go, yeah, we got the fucking fries. Now what could I get you? Like, that's probably what they said. They go, fries. We got fries.
I mean, that's
We got that. I don't think there's any meat in our Coke.
Vegetarian.
That's what they would say. Those guys, and then they would give them shit. And guess what? Those places are gems, and we should never have them taken away. Find me a business where they're rude to the customers a little bit. Not like outwardly rude. When you don't walk, unless it's like that. That's part of their fucking gimmick, like Wiener Circle
Dick's
in
Last
Chicago
Resort
or Dick's
shit.
Last Resort or like an Ed Bevick's. I'm talking about like one where if you ask a stupid question, they give you a stupid answer. I love those places.
Yeah.
Those are like the fabric of a good neighborhood place,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't want to see those taken away. But anyway, stand up. We'll end on this. You want to pack it out this week? You want to make it?
We have to, and it's worth coming to.
And does that benefit
Every
you
week.
guys? Because
well-
then the bar makes money and they can pay the fine if there is a fine.
There's not going to be a fine
All
because
right,
we can
good.
fight this. But I want to pack it out this week. I want to pack it out every week. But this week, the cops are saying that they're going to be there. So come, bring your friends. I'll fucking comp you. I don't give a shit. Also, this is our 7-year anniversary show.
Hell yeah.
By the way, which is perfect fucking timing for us.
Can I do a guest spot? Can I do 5?
We'll
No,
see.
I'm just joking.
I might have room actually. We'll see.
No, I don't
Come
want to
see
weasel my
Come
way.
see Joe Thursday.
I don't want to weasel my
You
way
ain't
into
got
the
a
show.
weasel.
You know what you do? Cut this clip up and share it on your Facebook tomorrow.
Yeah.
That way everyone sees it because
I'll put
it's
it
not
in
until
there.
Thursday. Today's still Monday. Everyone, this has been Kilgallon's Pub. Thanks for listening. Check out the Patreon if you want to support the podcast. There's a bunch of bonus stuff that I had to take down an episode where someone cried, so that's on there if you're like, what happened to that one? And there's some other fun shit, and I'm going to keep updating that. And follow on Instagram and Twitter. Tell your friends. Kilgallon's Pub. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, end that one.